Hello, everyone. We are here with Henry Horenstein, photographer, who has provided us with our current special exhibit, Honky Tonk Portraits of Country Music 1972 to 1981. And he's going to answer five rapid fire questions about the exhibit and his life. And we're going to start off with the basic question, which is, the exhibit's great. There's 27 images in it. Do you have a favorite image that's actually in the exhibit?
Well, I like all my pictures, of course, but I guess it has to be Dolly Parton because it's been, my most popular picture. I feel like a one-hit wonder a little bit with it, but people do know it and like it, and so I got to go along with that.
Well, we had some middle school students at the museum yesterday, and all of them was like, "Is that Dolly Parton?"
I know, right?
When they saw it. So yeah, you're right. It is. Even people who aren't listening to this music or don't know some of those artists, they know Dolly Parton.
Yeah, I know. And they probably don't know, Jerry Lee Lewis or, but they know, it's amazing.
Well, out of all of those artists, I think she's definitely breached the generation gap.
Yeah, oh, she sure has. And everything gap too, gender gap and everything.
Oh,
yeah, for sure.
Political gap, everything. Yeah.
All right. So second question, how did you go about choosing the images to be used in the exhibit from the much larger collection of images?
That was tough. I tried to have some variety because the book's about country music for sure, obviously, but it's also, to me, it's about a culture and a time that, we lived in, mostly the 70s. And people who lived in that culture who were also country music fans. So things like the fans in the bars, in the music club, music festivals, and so forth were really important to it. And so I try to mix it up that way.
Well, and I remember you telling us before when we had you in November for a talk about this, that access has changed so much to musicians, which plays into things. So because of that, how do you have plans to do more music and musician focused photo sort of projects, or is that just really difficult now?
Well, access, good access is definitely limited. But when I was shooting back way then, think of those country singers, only a few of them didn't end up as cab drivers after their country music careers. Only a few of them really made a lot of money or enough money to kind of retire or keep touring on. So, I think the secret is that, if you, let's say you're a young photographer, to find bands that no one cares about at this point and hope that a few of them, are interesting enough that a good friend of mine, David Godless, ex-student of mine, photographed at CBGB's in the 70s. No one else, well, I think he said there were two other photographers at the time, when they were just starting out, all the punk music and everything. And now he's got this incredible archive of, History Begins at Night, I think. David, I'll give you a little plug. It's an incredible number. And he just sat there and took pictures. No one cared, Yeah. But the last time I tried to photograph a country music star, well, I photographed Lee Greenwood on assignment a couple of years ago. But about the same time, I tried to photograph, just before he got sick, I tried to photograph Randy Travers. He was coming to Massachusetts, and I went through all the, nothing. I couldn't they said no, And at that point, Randy Travers, I wouldn't say his career was over. It wasn't, but he was not a big star anymore like he had been in the 80s, 90s. So, it's just changed. So, to me, the music of the lesser stars are as interesting. But I'm sure glad I got Dolly when I got her, and Jerry Lee and all those people. Very important for the book and the work.
Well, if everything gets better in our world on the coronavirus front, you're going to have to come down to the festival and photograph there. There's lots.
I'm definitely coming to the festival. Yeah. It kind of reminded me. I looked at the lineup, when we were talking originally. And I went to college in Chicago, and the University of Chicago used to still does, I think, have a folk festival. And it reminded me of that festival where they brought in all kinds of people, legends, people who've been forgotten, people who were still active and, doing well, and, and it was just good music. And that's what it seems like you've got in the fall there.
Definitely.
Yeah. I'll be there. The one thing COVID's done for me on the positive side, if that's, possible, is I've been going through my archives and realizing I'd been photographing country music all along. I just wasn't that concentrated. So I'd bring a camera somewhere and I'd grab a picture, maybe or maybe not, or, and sometimes the music, it wasn't always country, but it was kind of like blues singers and like that, who I would not call, mainstream country singers, but they were kind of honky-tonk singers. People like Gabe Mouth Brown, for example, I photographed for Rounder Records and have a nice picture of him, and, that sort of thing. Walter Washington, bluesman in New Orleans, people like that. So I think I have a Honky Tonk Revisited book, and I continue to shoot. I got a nice Lee Greenwood picture a couple of years ago on assignment, and so I because there's so many years, decades, that they kind of add up after time, And I think I have been photographing people since then. So.
Well, that is a good segue into this question. Can you reveal the last photo you took, either it can be with your phone or with your camera?
Well, I'll tell you, yeah, I can, because every day, like Renee, I go out on a walk if I can. And I usually do the same, it's weird, I do the same walk. I'm in a rut. But I bring a little camera. I bought a walk-around camera, something that wouldn't, be too heavy, and photographed. But yesterday I went out to Worcester, to Massachusetts, where my lab is, and someone bought a print. I went out there to check it out and sign it, and I photographed on the road a couple of the drive-in movie theater, and we have these milk crates, what would you call them? Milk cartons tradition in southeastern New England. And I don't know if you have it elsewhere, but there used to be a lot of dairy farms here. Excuse me. And the dairy farms often used to have these milk bottles shaped like kiosks, kind of, where you went up and got your ice cream or your fried clams or whatever. It was a thing in the southern New England. It's almost all gone. We have around the corner a children's museum, and they resurrected one from Hood's Milk Company. But they're mostly all gone. But there was still one on Route 146 on the way to Worcester, and photographed that for a while in a drive-in movie theater. It's all real casual.
The roadside attractions.
Yeah, exactly. And then I did what I should never admit to having done, but I didn't bring a full battery or an extra. And in the middle of this, I ran out of juice. Don't play that.
We won't.
I'm just kidding.
But that leads well into our last question, which is, what have been your go-to activities or methods of coping with the pandemic lockdown? For instance, have you been one of the sourdough starter people?
Oh, no. I eat sourdough, but I don't. No, I've been, actually, it's. I hate to say it because everyone's had such a hard time with it, but in a way, it's been okay for me. In fact, even good. It's cut my commute for teaching a lot, because I'm Zooming. I don't think Zoom's a great place to learn, but I don't mind it as a teacher because it's easy, frankly, for me. And I don't think it's a great experience, but for me, it happens to be easy. But the main thing I've been doing is going through my archives, putting together projects. I'm working on a couple of films, and I've finished one and working on the other. And, so it's been, positive, but obviously I'm an exception. So it's a very sad situation. So I don't want to end.
Those are our five. Those are our 5 rapid fire questions with Henry Horenstein. And we hope that you all will come and visit his exhibit. It's at the museum through March 28th, so we're in our last month, but you've still got time to see this extraordinary and wonderful exhibit, and we invite you to come and visit us soon.
Yeah, and thanks, Henry. It's always a
Thanks,
pleasure.
Renee, Scotty.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Always great. I wish I could be there with you.